We got a phone call from Andy's school. He had a meltdown, was naked, was shouting. He just kept saying he wanted to come home, wanted to come home. Hello folks and welcome to today's vlog. We have something a little different on today's vlog. Andy is still here. Normally, his school bus would have been and gone by this point, but we're taking him to school ourselves today for the first time in about 2 years, I think. We don't usually take him to school, as regular viewers will know. I'm trying to get in a position where I've not got darkness all over my face, but he's got an appointment at the doctor's first thing this morning. It's a bit of a weird appointment because we don't really know what it's for. We got a phone call from them saying he needed to have a general health check, and they've made an appointment and he's got to go in. I don't know if this is an autism thing or a social services thing or just a general kids health thing. I don't remember Lucy having a general health check when she was this age. Amy certainly hasn't been called in for a general health check. I wonder if what they actually mean is it's just a quick review to make sure he's still suitable for his medication. It's weirdly timed though, because we're back at Cam's next week. We went to see the paediatrician just before Christmas. We're up to date with all the appointments with the specialists, but we've got to go in and see the GP so they can tick a box. It might be something different, I don't know exactly what it is, but that appointment is at 8:50, so fingers crossed we won't be in there very long, and then we get to drive him to school, which shouldn't be a problem. I don't think he'll have an issue with us driving him to school. We just want to make it very clear that he's still getting the bus home, and tomorrow he's getting the bus again. And it's the first part of lots of messing with his school routine over the coming weeks, because as I mentioned, we're up in Boston for Cam's next week, which is he goes to school on the bus, but then we pick him up after about 2 hours and then take him back again. And then just after that, he's got his first time at respite, where he's there all weekend, then they take him on Monday morning. So after 18 months of school refusal and now a solid, what has it been now, a year and a half? It's probably been another 18 months of him being back at school and us rigidly sticking to the routine that we know has worked. We're now tweaking things and messing with things slightly and hoping that it doesn't cause a regression. I don't think it will, because he's completely comfortable with the whole thing. He's not stressed out by the fact we're not going. We've put Channel 4 on Channel 4+1, so he's still getting to watch his normal shows.
What is that, woman? I don't know.
But he seems quite happy that he's still at home playing on his iPad, which I hope is a positive thing. Doctor's appointment sorted. I don't think we've ever had such a long doctor's appointment with anyone, including all the specialists that we go and see. That was very comprehensive stuff. They reviewed absolutely everything, even down to where we live and all sorts of stuff. Apparently he's supposed to be having, because he's on the spectrum, he's supposed to be having a review like that every year. He's 14, that's the first one he's ever had, but it's going to be every year from now on until he's 18, I guess. But they were happy with everything. Andy wasn't particularly happy with having his heart rate checked with the little thing that goes on the finger. Didn't like that at all. And then they tried to go straight from that to listening to his chest with a stethoscope, and he was not having that at all.
He let the doctor measure him.
Oh yeah, he's had his height and his weight done, which he doesn't normally like. It was like an accumulation of things he's not keen on. They've confirmed his BMI is absolutely fine. His heart rate was fine. You know, they were happy with everything they could check. They couldn't check his chest because he just wouldn't let them. But other than that, they're very happy. They checked through all his prescriptions and everything, and it was the sort of appointment that I can see why you're supposed to have one of those every year. Hopefully we do have them every year from now on. They would have been very, very handy over the course of the last 2 or 3 years when we really needed the extra support. But yeah, it was all positive stuff, and now it's 9:20. We need to get him to school. And he's just on his way in, and I don't even need to get out of the car. What a contrast from the last time we drove Andy to school. Which, I mean, driving through the gates here, I had vivid flashbacks to driving through this gate, and then they let us through the next set of gates that we can't go through today. They've got to walk through them, but they let us drive through those, because by the time we got there, he would be lying down in the footwell in the back of the car, naked, kicking, screaming, and it would take 4 or 5 people to drag him out of the car, wrap him in a blanket, get him into school, where he would then go in and just sit in a sensory tent thing all day, really upset, and then come home. That was 2 years ago. And now he's like, yeah, I'm going to school a bit late today, not bothered. He was telling us on the way in as we were driving that he's going to go on the computer and what he was planning on doing. And we got here, he got out, and he's followed down over to the gate, just walked in, absolutely fine. No battle, no question about whether or not he's going to go in or not. It's just awesome. It is now 20 to 10. I'm hungry because this whole kerfuffle this morning has meant that I haven't even had a cup of coffee yet. So my head is spinning. I've not had breakfast. I need to get home, I need to eat, I need to drink, and I need to get on with some work. Because Anna's at work later today. So it's my shorter day, and we need to go and crack on, really. I hope she's on her way back. I hope after all this, she's not had trouble getting in through the door. She won't have had trouble. I'm completely confident there'll have been no trouble getting you into school today. Well, back home and work for the day just about complete. In fact, I'm back home, gone out again, then back home again. Just dropped Anna off at work for her start time. However, just before Anna started work, about 2:45, we got a phone call from Andy's school preparing us for what could be a difficult evening ahead. Obviously, we took him into school late this morning. What we didn't know at the time is that when we got there, they were in the middle of a fire drill, which combining that, so we've got a disrupted morning routine anyway. He was put under a lot of stress at the doctors. Nothing bad happened, it's not the doctor's fault, but just a combination of things, weighing him, doing his height, doing his heartbeat, trying to do his chest. All these things were building Andy's stress and anxiety up, and then there was getting to school late. On top of that, when he gets there, they're doing a fire drill, so he's had to go outside in the rain, which he hates. And then, I think we've mentioned it on the vlog about a week or so ago, he's recently fallen out with the iPad at school. He got himself locked out of the iPad there last week, and since then doesn't want to use it at all, only wants to use the computers, but they don't always have access to computers. And from what it sounds like, from what's been described on the phone, he's wanted to go on a computer, and it's kind of just been the straw that broke the camel's back. And he's ended up having a really bad day. And when they phoned us, he was naked. He'd gone back to how he was. I mean, I mentioned it this morning. It was like regressing 2 years. He just had a meltdown, was naked, was shouting. He just kept saying he wanted to come home, wanted to come home. It's one of those things that's really difficult for us as parents in a situation like this, because our first instinct is, let's go and fetch him and bring him home. But we have to remain strong and not be tempted to do that, because when we've done that, because that's basically what caused the initial school refusal thing. Way back when he'd had a bad day, he was having a bad day, so they phoned us up, got us to come and pick him up. We picked him up at lunchtime, brought him home, and it clicked in his head that school was voluntary. And if he wasn't enjoying it, he could come home. And from the very next day, he just refused to go for 1.5 years. So no matter how much we want to bring him home and kind of shield him from the bad day that he's having, we have to leave him there until the end of the day. I'm half expecting another phone call anytime now saying he's refused to get on the bus, which is a different situation completely. Obviously, if he can't get home, but it's the end of the school day, we'll go and get him. But it's 3:05 now. I think he would normally be on the bus by now. School finishes at 3 o'clock. So unless they're in the middle of having a problem now, I think he probably has got on the bus. So that side of things should be okay. But yeah, they said it's probably the worst day he's had at school since he got back into the habit of being there. Those first few days, a couple of years back, or a year or so back, whenever it was, when he first started attending school again, the first couple of weeks were difficult. I mentioned earlier he was spending a lot of time in there, just in the sensory room or in a safe space in a tent, and not really connecting with it. But over the last year and a half, he's really got back into the routine of school again and hasn't had a bad day for a long time. But obviously just too much stuff has piled up on top of him all in one go, and he's just had to, no, that's enough. I just want to go home. And I completely understand why, but in the interests of not going back to school refusal territory, we kind of have to say no and let him see it out. So
there's a very good chance he's not going to be in a good place when he comes home. Obviously, I'm not going to shove a camera in his face unless he wants to be a part of that. So you might not see Andy again for the rest of the day. We'll see how things get on. But it's one of those little reminders that we need from time to time that, yes, he's made huge progress over the last year or 18 months, but the underlying issues, the autism, the anxiety, is all still there. And we do need to be careful not to push too hard in at once, because certainly not in the last 4 or 5 years, but when he was younger, there would be situations where Anna would push and push and push. Not just Anna, but on the instructions of professionals, and you push too far and it actually causes a regression. Potty training was an example of that, where a few times he'd get to the point where he was almost there and then go straight all the way back to the beginning again because it just got too much in one go. Weaning him off a bottle was the same. He didn't stop drinking milk out of a bottle until he was, I mean, I met him and he was still drinking milk out of a bottle, so he was like 7, 8 years old. So it's important not to push too hard. We'll see how he is when he gets in and play it by ear from there. It does throw up a few questions in my mind about the future, about the changes to respite care, whether that's maybe something we should put on hold for the time being. I'll see how he is when he gets home before deciding what to do with that. Also deciding what to do about the doctor's appointment he's got next week. And obviously the hugely action-packed days we've got planned for when we go on holiday as well. Early starts, late finishes. Perhaps we need to be factoring in a lot more downtime to that, because again, if we push too much, it's all going to go wrong. But that's a worry for another day. For today, we just need to see how he is when he gets in. Hopefully he'll be okay. Usually when stuff like this happens, it'll once he's past the kind of I don't even know how you describe it, the turning point of the meltdown, it usually then turns into a migraine. So I think there's a very good chance he'll just come in and go to bed. But we'll see how he is. I hope today's just been the perfect storm of bad things piling up all at the same time, and it's not just because he went to the doctors, and it's not just because his morning routine was changed, and it's not just because of the fire drill or the computer problem. It's the fact that all of those things all happened on the same day, and it's unlikely that we'll get that combination ever again, but we'll see, I guess. I'm now 99% confident he is on the bus on the way home. So we'll see how he is in about 20 minutes. Well, he's home. I've just stepped outside so that, give him a little bit of space. He's gone upstairs to put his pyjamas on. Dave's running around like crazy. He seems okay on first impression. Just had a little look in his book. They said he's been unsettled all afternoon. Mentioned him getting naked and that he just generally had a bad afternoon. But also, something I've never seen them put in his book before is apparently while this was going on, he used the F word twice as well, which is not something I've ever heard. We've never heard him say in rage. We've heard him repeat it off of videos a couple of times, and school have given us examples of using it, which we've talked about before. But yeah, it sounds like it was a full-on rage that included a couple of F-bombs, which is new. And hopefully not a development that we're going to see too often. But I'm going to head back in. Can't hide out here too long. He was upstairs getting his pyjamas on. Amy's just minding the fort while I'm out here. We'll see how he's getting on. Hello.
You okay?
Are you okay?
Yeah.
Would you like a present?
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought you might. We have a present. And this, if you remember, at the weekend, Jack Edinburgh sent some presents for all of us, but Andy's was coming separately. And it has now arrived. So this is from Jack, just like the stuff we got at the weekend was.
Oh, he's got a yes.
It's a new Nintendogs game. Do you want me to get it out for you so you can play it?
No.
No.
Just put like that.
Do you want me to put it away for you?
Put like that. And that? It's that.
You want me to put it on there?
Yeah.
I'm sure he will play it when he's feeling a little bit better. I thought it might cheer him up, but it seems not. Gonna leave him alone. Back out here again because I didn't want to talk about it in front of him. If you didn't know him, I think you could probably look at him and think there was nothing wrong. There definitely is an underlying tension to just general behaviour though. Normally in Nintendogs game he would be all over that, but you could see he was initially interested and then just wanted it to be in its place. DS games go over there, so he's put it over there. He wants to watch QI, which he normally watches on Netflix on his TV. He's got a smart TV. He knows how to get onto Netflix using the remote. He does it every day to put QI on, but he just said he was going to do it. And first he went onto our media server and started rooting around in the options of the media server. And I reminded him, no, that's not Netflix. And he was going, watch QI on Netflix. Still nosing around in the media server. And then he went out and went back into YouTube, which YouTube he's not logged into on the TV, so there's very little he can actually do on there. And while he's pressing the buttons, he's still talking about wanting to watch QI on Netflix, but he's now gone to the media server and to YouTube, not pressing the big Netflix button that's on his remote control, not doing what he does every day, not going through the process. I'm not sure how to interpret it. I'm not sure what it means, that I don't know if he's deliberately doing it wrong to be in control of something, to get a better grip on the day, or if he's so flustered and anxiety is running through him to such an extent that he can't remember how to do it. He knows it's something to do with the TV, something to do with the remote control, but he can't remember what option it is, so he's just literally pressing random buttons. But either way, I offered to do it for him. He would not let me. He just turned the TV off, went back to his iPad and carried on watching TV theme tunes on his iPad. So he's definitely on edge, and I think like I say, I'm going to keep the camera away from him for the rest of the day, unless he wants to be on. Otherwise I'll check in with you throughout the evening and let you know how he's getting on, but my money would still be on him having an early night. Well, multiple hours later, he did spend a good couple of hours in his room just chilling out. But as you can see,
don't tell me it's too much for you already.
he's completely back to normal now. It's 7:15, so he's been home.
We're going back to go on the one way, haven't we?
He's been home about 4 hours, and to me he seems entirely recovered, so thumbs up to that, and fingers crossed.
Are you kidding me?
We're not going to have any issues in the morning.
Just gone.
Are you feeling better now?
Yeah.
Good. And school and the taxi as normal tomorrow.
You there, Warner?
Yeah, school bus in the morning, no daddy's car tomorrow, and we'll be fine. Excellent stuff. I like the way he just completely ignored me attempting to say that. He from him twice, but I'm sure we'll be fine. We're going to play some Mario Kart now, and I guess I'll check in with you once more. But I think it should still be more positive stuff. And we've made it to bedtime, and he's gone to bed in a pretty good mood in the end, actually. He had his couple of hours decompression time upstairs, came downstairs, watched In the Night Garden, we played Mario Kart, he watched a couple of episodes of QI, he's filled his face with crisps, he's been dancing around the room, enjoying himself. I've deliberately kept the camera off him, like I said earlier. He needed some time to recenter himself, sort himself out, just have an evening off, and he's completely happy and fine now, going to bed. So fingers crossed, should be fine in the morning. My fear is that because he didn't go to school in the bus this morning, he might think that he's not going on the bus tomorrow, or he might have some problems getting him to go there tomorrow because he had a meltdown there today. And ordinarily, not a problem. Tomorrow, in the grand scheme of things, not a problem. We'll just take him in the car if we have to. It's one of the main reasons I left teaching in the first place, so that we always had that there as an option. But tomorrow, poor old Anna, tomorrow is the one day where we really could do with it not happening. Back in May last year, I got her a spa day for her birthday, and she's tried to book it a couple of times. She had it booked for around about the time her mum was ill, and we had her mum's funeral, and all that stuff was going on, so she never got to have it. She was going to have it again around Christmas time, and she was poorly and wasn't able to do it then. She's got it booked. She's got to be there at 9:15 tomorrow morning. So if we do have to take him into school, she's going to have to miss out on it. She's going to have to cancel it. It's too late. It would be too short notice to cancel for a third time. So fingers crossed he goes as planned. Otherwise, poor old Anna is never going to get this spa day, this cursed spa day, that every time it gets booked something bad happens. But fingers crossed we'll be fine, fingers crossed Andy will be fine. Just a little blip on the road, and hopefully not a sign of what happens when we mess with his routine. I think, like I said earlier, just an accumulation of so much stuff all happening on the same day just made it the perfect storm for having a meltdown, and fingers crossed
that's not going to happen again the next time we have to tweak his morning routine or the next time he has to go to the doctors. We're crossing everything. But we will wrap up today's vlog there. If you have enjoyed it, please make sure you leave a nice big thumbs up on there for us. Subscribe to the channel for more daily vlogs. And thank you very much for watching.